After this, there was a festival of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now, in Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, there is a pool called in Hebrew Bethesda, which has 5 porticos. In these lay many invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the water when the water is stirred. And while I'm making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me." Jesus said to him, "Stand up, take up your mat, and walk." At once the man was made well, and he took up his mat and began to walk. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Christ. Just a very brief reflection. Remember, this is John's Gospel. And John never says anything with a number in it without something behind it, some meaning behind it. So there's 2 numbers in there. One was 5. He just pointed to the 5 pools, and it talks about 5 porticos. Perhaps that's what that was built. Maybe there were 5 things. But for John, 5 has got to be something else. And probably 5 is the books of the Pentateuch, the Torah. So in some way you're getting a clue. Whenever 5 is said for a Jewish person, they're thinking probably the 5 books, our 5 core books, the Pentateuch, the Torah. And then the 38 years, what's that about? 38 apparently is the actual number of years that the Jews wandered in the desert. The 38th year they began the entry, they saw the Holy Land. It took them out that time from the time they left the Red Sea, so counting the time they first left Egypt until they finally got into the land, 40 years is what the number is. But the rabbis talked about it being a 38-year long journey before they turned themselves to go into the Holy Land. Because in the earliest years of that journey, it's in the Pentateuch, they sent people to look into the Holy Land, and they came back with fear, and they didn't want to invade the Holy Land. And that's the punishment, that generation that was too fearful had to die in the desert, had to wander until they were gone. So the next generation that was not fearful, the people here of Israel talk about, what's that word again, Sas, John? The born here generation?
Oh, Sabra.
Yeah, I can't remember that. Sabra. The Sabras are the Jews born here, and they're very different than Jews who have immigrated here from fear and from places they've been in trouble. The Sabras are tough, like the cactus of the desert. They use that as a symbol of themselves. We had a Sabra talk to us on my first trip. And so their idea is very different. That was the kind of generation that Joshua needed to enter the Holy Land. So this man is paralyzed symbolically for 38 years, and finally he gets to be cured by Jesus.